Ryan texted me earlier today, and he's like, when everyone's healthy, what if we had Lee, Horvat, Peugeot, you keep that top line. Sippy, Nelson, Palmieri. Second line stays the same. Third line, Duclair, Barzal, Wahlstrom. And then kind of like you're saying, Engvall, Cizikas, Holmstrom. Thoughts?
The only part I don't love about it is Wahlstrom on the third line. Although different role than he's asked to being played now. Even still, I don't really trust him in that spot.
I don't either. I think that's why Ryan's got Duclair and Barzal. Like, they do all of the heavy lifting, all of it, and then hopefully Wahlstrom gets some sort of psychological boost here to be like, oh my god, I'm playing with Barzal, let's go. And then maybe that sparks a little bit more out of him. Maybe. Like that swagger he used to have when I just remember like his second game, I think it was, against the Jets. Right? The second game ever. And he's next to the net. And I don't remember if he goes between the legs to try to roof it, but he tries this audacious, maybe even spin move to try to get something through Hellebuck. And I'm going, yes, that. Please give me this like audacious, creative player who's not scared to try something. And now you've got a Wahlstrom who's scared. He's so scared out there. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
Maybe playing with Barzal, that sparks something. Maybe.
Possible.
I totally agree. Then that's kind of like what I was saying with Ryan. Like, I like where you're going here. You got 3 scoring lines that play about like 15 minutes a night. Could work. I'd like to see it, which is exactly things that I wrote here to Ryan. I get anyone's hesitation, though. Like, they want to see Barzal with Bo Horvat. I get it. But it's friggin' working right now in that top line. If Patrick Roy tried this, I'd be down to see what happens. Just, let it roll. There are 3 lines of pure offense and a hard-working forechecking line. Sounds good. Sounds good to me, man.
I'd be willing to give it a shot. I've heard significantly worse forward line ideas tossed out there.
I'm sure.
It's interesting. I'm not going to say like I love it and I think it's the perfect idea and that's absolutely going to work. But the top line has been working the way that it is. You're not going to mess with the second line. So as a result, do you just add the 2 guys who've been out on a new line with Wahlstrom, and then that way you keep Engvall and Holmstrom together? It's an interesting thought. I mean, if they tried it, I wouldn't be totally against it.
Exactly, right? And that's kind of how I see it as well. It's not something that I'm saying the coaching staff have to do. I'm not saying Patrick Roy needs to do this. It's an interesting solution to a problem that we've kind of been vocalizing here when you look at the lineup. Like, where do you put this guy? Because then you break this synergy. Well, if you move that guy here, you break this one. You're going, if you don't want to break anything, this is the way to do it.
Although, I'm going to negate myself a little bit here by saying this, but the top line was working pretty good before the Anthony Duclair injury.
Correct.
So
yes.
You could end up just moving Peugeot and Lee down to the third line and keeping them together.
Yeah.
But then I don't think if you do that, then I don't think Wahlstrom stays as that guy on the third line. I think it's somebody else with Peugeot and Lee.
Yeah, he had success with Lee before. With Peugeot before, with Wahlstrom, right? A couple of years back. And by success, I mean, like, it wasn't awful. Maybe here, where they are asked to do a little bit more offensively, and they have done more offensively, maybe, again, it unlocks something with Wahlstrom. But I don't think it's the same unlocking as if, like, here, play with Barzal and Duke. Like, Kid would be up.
That's a way to build his confidence.
Yeah. And Patty's all about that. So it wouldn't shock me if this is something he would try. Game 1 of like all of them back. Like, let's assume they all come back at once, which isn't necessarily the case. Then maybe I can see him trying something like that. But because Duclair and Barzal are probably not coming back at the exact same time, then maybe they have time to tinker around with the lineup, and we'll put this guy here and see where that moves other things type of situation.
It's interesting. I like that's a very outside the box idea that I happen to like.
And I love the idea if we got 3 effectively second lines. Really is what we have. Like we don't have one truly elite offensive line, but it's like try to shut us down. We'll get you somewhere.
We're gonna beat you with depth, like the 2020 Islanders. Although that decor was a hell of a lot better than this one.
Fair. His decor is basically like it's Romanov Dobson, fair. George Pollock, I don't mind that. And then Pellick Mayfield, and you're just like, you basically have to protect that third pair.
If you like that, make sure to subscribe to Up the Turnpike on Patreon for more exclusive New York Islanders content.